Tom Fitton, editor-in-chief of Just the News, John Solomon. And I want to start with John Ratcliffe, now the Director of National Intelligence, running the show after Rick Grinnell's extraordinary 3 months as the acting director. Tom, what do you expect to be the difference? Do you expect that, for example, we're going to see a lot more declassification and the public's right to know honored by the intelligence community rather than frustrated?
I hope so. Mr. Ratcliffe now has Grinnell's lead to follow. There are these documents that Grinnell just declassified, including the transcripts of the wiretaps on General Flynn, which in my view are just it's just an evidence of a crime. They shouldn't have been wiretapping Flynn's communications. As soon as they heard that he was talking to the ambassador, they should have turned the tape off. So that material needs to come out. You know, we had sued for it years ago, couldn't get it, and now Grinnell's finally released it, and now John Ratcliffe needs to take the baton, the transparency baton, and further disclose the details of Obamagate. And if he doesn't do it, the president should order him and anyone else involved to declassify. Certainly, it's already been declassified, so there's really no good reason to withhold it other than politics. I don't think Ratcliffe is going to withhold it.
Well, you, John, managed to get material that the defense attorney and General Flynn couldn't get for themselves. What do you expect?
I would expect the trend of increased transparency and declassification and release of information to accelerate. When Ratcliffe was in Congress, he was a big advocate for declassifying this stuff. And I think Rick Grinnell has created the environment by which Ratcliffe can accelerate these activities. There are many more documents that need to be released. Just last week, Tom's group, Judicial Watch, did a fantastic job in getting us the original electronic communication that opened up the Russia case. And when you see that, you realize it's a laughable document. There was no basis to even start the Russia investigation.
I think the expression was not in a million years should it have occurred, Tom. Which, by the way, is what President Trump was saying throughout. And yet there doesn't seem to be remorse. There does not seem to be any shame or embarrassment. They just plod on, saying, well, you know, that was then and this is now, and the hell with the American citizens and their right to know, and oh, yes, the Constitution. This is outrage to me that the stain remains at DOJ, the FBI, and parts of the intelligence community. What do you think will be done? Tom?
This was part of a seditious coup. Let's be clear. They were desperate to get Trump. They ambushed General Flynn in the White House, an attack on the president's ability to conduct foreign policy. It was an attack on the presidency. You know, my concern is that Comey's been let off, McCabe's been let off, and I don't just see any evidence that the senior leadership behind this coup is going to be prosecuted, let alone even seriously questioned at this point. It's disturbing. The president should appoint, I've been saying, a special counsel separately because the DOJ just can't do it.
The president has just spoken. He was at an event, not a general news event, but speaking with the reporters at least briefly. This is what he had to say about General Flynn.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it too. I mean, I'd like to hear it. The FBI, as you know, said that he didn't lie. And certainly the conversation, almost regardless, it was a good conversation. He was allowed to do it. And the Mueller people who are have been proven very bad things they did. Very bad things. A lot of bad things are being found out about the hoax.
John, your reaction to the president's remarks?
You know, if he said them 3 years ago, people would have laughed at him. But the truth of the matter is all this disclosure, all the great work by Tom Fitton, all the great work by the members of Congress, we now can see this was a ruse from the beginning. It was a partisan political or a personal attack on the president, trying to thwart his presidency, misusing the most powerful intelligence and criminal enforcement, law enforcement tools we had. And the president is right. There were some bad people who did some very bad things.
And none of them have been brought to account, Tom. And as John reminds us, the national left-wing media, the radical Dems mocking the president when he said he was being wiretapped. It's just inconceivable what has happened to this president at the hands of a politically corrupt FBI, Department of Justice, as I said, a couple of very bad chiefs of Obama-era intelligence agencies.
Yeah, Mueller was the hammer for the deep state here. And remember, the abuse of General Flynn, the prosecution occurred under Mueller. The president should presume all those prosecutions and investigations are suspect and tainted, and should pardon everyone involved, irrespective of how the courts handle them. Manafort, Stone, and of course General Flynn, who was innocent. Jeff Sessions, I know, had been in a debate with President Trump. Jeff Sessions didn't need to recuse himself, and once he did and saw what was going on, he should have unrecused himself to stop the carnage in the Justice Department. He didn't. It was a terrible lapse in judgment, to put it charitably.
John, you get the last quick word, if you would.
It's hard to follow that. It was a pretty good argument. Yeah, listen, people are going to look back at this period of time and really regret what the FBI and Justice Department did. The real question is, can we prevent it from happening again? And only punishment and accountability will prevent it from happening again.
That's right.
Amen. To you both, Tom Fitton, John Solomon. Thank you, gentlemen.